Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Rose Society, a game of swashbuckling action, suspenseful, suspicious intrigue, and kidnapping on islands, ships without pilots. It's a great time, all set in the world of 7th Sea. My name is Dan McCurdy, and I will be your storyteller this evening, and I will allow my players to introduce themselves, starting with the mysteriously arrived Verity.
Bonsoir. I am Rage Mouse, and you will be knowing me as Verity, Laurys, Victoire-Couteau. I am a duelist, a courtesan, and a very sexy bitch.
Next up, Nikoletta.
Hello, everybody. I am a farm-grown nerd. I'm playing Nikoletta von Richter. I'm not what they would call the sexy bitch, but I am the creepy bitch.
Creepy is sexy.
Indeed. Demetrius.
Hey everyone, I'm Eric Bell Comedy. I'm playing Demetrius Penn, Stealer of Virtues, and many more things. And it's going to be fun. I'm going to roll horribly, and let's go have a good time. I am not a bad bitch, but I love me some bad bitch ass. But
Is it thick 30 already?
oh, Verity, my dear.
Moo, you say? Next up, Alastriona.
Hello, I'm Abby, Dat Bardic Charm on TikTok and Blue Sky, and I am playing Alastriona Toran, Inish Morstolja, and I'm just a bitch.
Arnau.
Hi, my name is Kingdom, also known as Chandler, and I'm going to be playing Arnau Cecero, the, I think, only person on a fast track to degeneration on this team. We'll see how it goes.
And finally, Asgeir.
Hey, everybody, I am Ryan. I go by Darth Caustic on all socials. And if you are looking for your big, barely bearded Viking man, then Asgeir Ironhand is him.
All right. In our previous episode of the Black Rose Society, the crew was aboard a not-at-all ship called the Castilian Princess. That was, nothing wrong with it at all. There might have been a problem, some undead aboard, no crew, that sort of thing. But in general, everything was fine. Three stars on the Yelp review. Managing to fight off and kill the undead before any of them were killed and turned with them. The party, with the help of Asgeir at the wheel, got the ship under control. They also discovered that in the leader of the undead, this odd sea creature who seemed to be impervious to the various tinctures and things that Nikoletta used in order to bring it down, it was in possession of a strange black rose. Upon investigating this black rose, they discovered that it was, in fact, vampiric. And when it managed to prick someone's finger, it started feeding on their blood and growing into a rather fetching black rose bush. They spent some time deliberating whether or not to turn it into tea. They experimented on a fish that they were able to find in the bay. It turned albino, apparently. They weren't able to figure out what was happening with that. It's currently in a barrel on the ship. And they found an island that they could bring the ship into the bay to get through the remainder of the storm. While they were there, they were waved down from the shore by a man on the island who revealed that there was a small community of castaways. Apparently, they had very luckily managed to get through the reefs of the island without sinking, and discovered that this group had been stranded here, some of them for years, as various ships went down. But they also learned that there was another group, more violent, those who took what they wanted, who lived further up on this island and would occasionally take people in order to serve their various purposes, including taking children once they reached a certain age, if any were found on the island. The crew, not about to allow this, went up, and they managed first to crash one of the camps where they discovered people who had been impounded into service, and one guard in particular who, at sword point, decided that those guys who were running up further up were all assholes anyway, and he would happily help them get back. They got to a second camp where he managed to save some prisoners, and suddenly the team had their own brute squad helping them in combat, whereas the rest were brutally put down. But that was also the moment when Asgeir recognized a name in the debris of one of the ships that he was on. It was the name of Color, which was the ship that his partner and his daughter were on when it was attacked by pirates and believed lost at sea. And now it's growing late in the evening. The Brute Squad are recovering from some of the wounds they took. Those of them who are still alive, I believe 8 of them was the count. And everyone is breathing. There have been a couple of tremors as well, as some of you begin to put together that the mountain you are on is in fact a volcano. We are going to say, for the purposes of what we were doing here, that Verity was taking the long way around, picking up any stragglers and making sure that no one caught the party from behind. So Verity, let's begin with you. You are traveling in this island and moving around, and occasionally you do run into the occasional guard, the occasional, and they're all very unsavory looking. Those with weapons, they're very old, not particularly well cared for, closer to machetes than cutlasses. What is Verity's approach when she comes upon one of these ruffians?
It is dark.
It's getting that way. It's light most of the day while you're doing this, but by the end it will be getting dark.
But in this moment, it is sunset.
But yeah, it's the sun has set behind the mountain, and so it's that weird, like there's ambient light around the island, but you are in the shade of the mountain.
And I am coming up on him from behind.
This is just anyone you're running into, like your general approach for random ones that you see. Are you doing stealth? Are you just walking up and handling them? Okay. One of them kind of turns around. Boy, who the hell are you?
Excuse me, is this the way to the castle?
You're very lost, aren't you, ma'am? I don't know why he just went southern. Yeah, okay. We're not worried about accents too much here. Okay.
This is not 7 West.
Well, in Arizona, what we did. There are no castles here. Who are you? How did you get here looking like that?
Very carefully.
You're Montanian. Another ship must have wrecked. But how did you get onto the island looking... Why are you not all sea bedraggled? How did you get here?
Well, you see, I came from that direction, and I used my feet to walk. How long have you been here? Are you stuck?
We've been... Wait a minute. We're supposed to... This guy is clearly very
he looks confused and takes his eyes off of her for any second. Her sword's coming up right under his chin.
I did not see that in the skirts.
There are many things that men do not get to see in my skirts. Now, will you give me directions to whoever it is you work for? I am looking for some friends.
The bosses are all up at the camp right on the crater edge.
And what have you been doing here all this time?
Gathering food, guarding stuff.
What sort of stuff?
The camps, making sure none of the folks on the beach get at the supplies.
And she'll like take a thought, and in that moment do a little like swip and cut his belt so his pants fall. So,
but his hands stay up, so yeah.
So you are protecting supplies from these other people stranded on the island? Aren't you also stranded?
Yeah, but it's better to be with the guys with swords than against them.
You
like
do not...
this current example.
I see. Well, if you wouldn't mind taking off your boots and handing them to me.
My boots.
Yes.
Okay. And he crouches down. And his boots, well worse for wear. One of the soles is only still like half attached as he kind of pulls it off, and then the other one too. And he hands them to you like, this is what you asked for, but I don't think you actually want it.
She'll take them from him. She'll look at them. She'll take one and throw it as hard as she can in one direction, and then throw the other one as hard as she can in another. She's like, oh, I don't see you following me pantsless and without proper footwear. So, au revoir. And she'll continue on.
Handling people like that, Verity, it's pretty easy to follow. You hear some sounds of battle as you get further up the mountain. And does she pick up the pace for that, or does she just kind of keep walking the way she's been?
Well, she's not going to like run off into the foliage and get stuff in her hair. So she'll continue on the least difficult path to get there as fast as possible.
So making decent time and stuff and going along, you walk into the camp, and all of you, it's been like there's been multiple fights to this point. There's been jumping. Oh, there would have been at least one point during the day, Verity, when the entire mountain would have started shaking and various steam vents would have been pushing out more than the usual amount of steam and smoke. What would Verity's reaction to that have been? This is a volcano moment.
Oh, no, she'd lament that she doesn't have time to look for hot springs.
Perfect. So the rest of you are looking sweaty. It's been hot. You've been fighting. There's blood. There's wounds in various places. And Verity, looking as well kept as when she got out of bed, staying in one of the nice rooms at the Siren's Kiss, walks into the camp.
Yoo-hoo!
Verity, how good of you to show up.
For the purposes of this group, this was always the plan. She was there to take care of stragglers. So we try not to punish people for whom real life pull them away.
There are no more stragglers. I took all their shoes.
That was...
No.
We said take care of... You know what? That's a good... They're not going to follow, so that's good.
Let me introduce you to these men we have here. This is... I just start listening, whoever, the Bruce squad.
This guard who I don't think got named. This guard who I don't think got named, because this isn't Emilio who met you down on the beach. The one who was basically press ganged. He looks around and he's like, name's Bob actually, and kind of goes down and gives very realistic, powerful character names to all of the others, hinting at a rich and deep backstory. But they're a brute squad, so no.
Yeah, I got it.
And they all kind of wave. Some of them are armed now who hadn't been, with whatever they have, and some look very similar to some of the ones that you disarmed, stuff like that on your way up. Disbooted, I suppose would be the term.
Now that we all together, we press on. Attack them in the dead of night.
We don't stop until the children are free.
I'm with Asgeir on that one. Yeah.
Awesome.
Hi.
I agree.
Lead on.
Do you agree, Verity?
As long as I don't have to keep the children, I am fine with saving them.
Oh, no, we're not doing that. No.
We are absolutely not keeping the
No.
children. No. But
No.
we're saving them and returning them to their parents. The ones
I
that are
haven't-
alive.
We all drink far too much to be taking on children.
I...
And yes, we are. Children drink.
I do not need tiny heathens rolling around in my bags and my things. No.
You would try to put them in your bag?
Why would I try to put him in my... You have a very strange sense of deductive
You
reasoning
just
sometimes.
said, you know what? Never mind.
I mean,
Children
sometimes
put their fingers where they're not supposed to all the time.
if you're trying to sneak into like a city or something, sometimes sneaking someone to a city, you can put them in the bag and then carry them into the city. So that does help if they're sufficiently small, but they have to be sufficiently small, so they either need to be children or injured.
Nicoletta's
They
looking
have
at her small.
parents. We're going to take them back to their parents. We're not worried about adopting any damn children.
All right. So as the group has this moment, the guards look around, the ones who've been working with you, and they're like, "We never got asked up to the main camp. We weren't bloodthirsty enough, but they always follow this path up. We're with you, obviously, but if they're traps and stuff, we haven't seen them." So Bob kind of comes forward and goes, "I'll walk first." And he's had a look in his face that of this crew, I'm guessing Demetrius, Alastriona, and Asgeir have had some experience with. This is a man who has done some shit and is incredibly guilt-stricken about it and is basically daring the universe to kill him to even the scale.
Let's keep a good eye out. You are more useful in a fight instead of finding out where the trap is.
I'd rather die with one of them on my sword, but whatever I can do.
So let's be careful. I would want as many of you as possible in the fight.
He nods, and they start their way up the mountain with you all behind them. And the further up the mountain you get, the rougher it gets. The foliage, which at first was one of the biggest problems, making your way through the jungle, is becoming sparser and sparser, but you're actually starting to miss it. Because irritating as it was to make your way through the bush, now the ground, there's a lot more, it's volcanic rock, which is sharp. It is volcanic sand, which is incredibly slippery, and the way is not easy going. This is definitely a risk to start out. So I am going to need finesse and athletics from all of you with 3. 1. So your success is you're making it up the mountain on the first raise, and then 3 chances of minor wounds just from cuts and the like as you make your way up. Unless any of you has another skill set that you would want to use instead that you want to talk me into.
Finesse and what?
Finesse and athletics.
First
No, that's-
one, so we get that
that's
little
fantastic.
bonus.
Yeah.
If I go a little slower and Arnau takes his time trying to look for the best way forward, could I go with finesse and notice?
If you're going to be pathfinding for the group, I would give you wits and notice.
Wits and notice? I can do that too.
All right.
We're gonna save that.
Same
Ooh.
risk count, but yeah.
Don't forget your extra dice for flair.
Yep.
Yeah,
First roll of the
so-
session, 1 extra die for flare.
Yep.
Question:
Yes.
would what I did to that guard count as resorting to the edge of your blade to defend a noble ideal, which is I don't support kidnapping children, child labor?
Not quite yet. Like I see where you're at, and you're gonna get there in this, but that on itself, no. That was just talking to a guy. You were not saving a child from that particular guard.
I am in the process of saving that child from this entire island.
So, is it still raised to 10 or is it still 15?
It is 10. It is 10.
It
I
is
have
10.
not hit you all with a villain point yet. But I have 6 of them. 2, 3, 3, 2, 3. So if you got 2 successes, if you got 2 raises, you are successful, but you take 2 minor wounds. If you got 3 and everyone was 2s or 3s, you are successful and you take 1 minor wound just from nicks and cuts and twisted ankles and stuff like that as you were working your way up the mountain. The brute squad,
Ooh.
they do all right. A couple of them do twist their ankles and they move in. Like because they're prisoners and they've been fighting with these guys, you all are keeping an eye on them. Just because Bob seems to be on the level doesn't mean all of them are. And you see the injuries, and these are legit injuries. Like one ankle you're pretty sure is broken, and stuff like that. And so their number is now down to 6 as 2 of them fall out. Bob gives them quick instructions to go back to the camp and hold the gate in case the main camp has any raiding parties that are on the way back.
Before they leave, Nikoletta will set right the bone. It will not be pleasant.
Okay. No, it isn't, but I'm just going to let you do that. And you all watch. You all have seen 2 sides of Nikoletta repeatedly, and this might actually be a third, because as like finesse and what's the word I'm looking for? Cerebral as she is when she's doing the stuff that you all are beginning to recognize as Hexen work. It's a very Eisner, well, this is what has to happen, and grabs the ankle and sets it. And he screams, but then stops screaming and looks down. It's like very clearly a moment of incredible pain, but then that oddly kind of goes away. And he and the others start wrapping it, and well, they get the instruction to do that once there's plants around for them to do. The rest of you continue your trek up the mountain, and it very quickly becomes clear you would see any traps coming. It's just rock. It's the main cover seems to be the darkness. The light still seems to be hitting the top of the mountain, and so anyone looking down at you would be looking down into darkness from light. And also the steam vents are becoming more regular, and the heat is getting uncomfortable. And you all are starting to learn to avoid the steam. It's not just fog anymore. It is actually to the point of being painful. Would not normally be. By the time it gets down to where you were on the mountain, it's cooled off significantly. But here, it is still scalding hot. And probably at least one of you gets some minor burning from that, would have accounted for one of your minor wounds as you continue your way up the mountain. Is there any conversation or any planning or strategizing you're doing? You can see now that there are fences and stuff like that, though there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of like wall or anything, because again, the resources just aren't up there. And these guys apparently didn't feel like dragging a whole lot of wood and stuff up the mountain. So any conversation or anything like that as you all are heading up, or is everyone just hyper-focused on what we're doing?
Blinders.
I do believe Nikoletta would say, just as an aside to Bob, listen, I've seen that look in your eye. I know what it is you are thinking. You do better good in the world sticking around and trying to fix what you did wrong, rather than try to take yourself out of it. Yeah?
Ma'am,
Did I ask for
I
argument?
appreciate... No.
Duh.
But I will say, wait until you see the camp.
I said what I said, and she keeps walking.
All right.
Did you beat the camp?
Did I what? Sorry?
Did you build the camp?
I didn't.
Did you make the locks?
No, though I did occasionally pull them out of wreckages.
I don't usually blame the person who picked the cotton for making a straitjacket. You're
Honestly.
letting yourself be punished for a very long line that is between you and where the true bad was done.
Daras! She throws over her shoulder.
Appreciated, both of you. I'm from everywhere, apparently. But we... Literally.
This is gonna be horrible. I when they are out of earshot, when Nikoletta and Verity are out of earshot, I put my hand on Bob's shoulder and I lean in. See those two over there? Those are good people. I know you. Because I'm like you. There's no heaven for guys like us. Do your damn job. You go and get yourself killed, and one kid don't get out, I'm going to kill you. And then I walk out.
All right. As you all get closer and closer, one of the things that starts standing out is that the camp is oddly not being particularly well guarded. You can see places where a guard you would assume go, where they would stand, where they would be ready to go, and there's just no one there. You see another one where there's a guy who has his boots up on the wall that he's supposed to be guarding, and you can hear the snoring from here. And
assault.
And Bob and the others start, like, they were mad initially to begin this, and they're like, all that talk, and they're just hanging out drunk up here.
Of course.
You were the first line.
Anyway, they start kind of working each other up and thinking, and Bob gives Demetrius a look and then kind of goes to each of the other members of the Brute Squad and says, make sure we take as many of them with us as we can. Every kid we save. And they're all like, yeah.
Get the blades out.
Mm-hmm. You get to the wall. The one where you saw a guard kind of sleeping in the chair, and he... what the... And all of a sudden, he recognizes you all and starts going for a blade.
Recognizes us.
Okay. So, Asgeir, that will be a panache and convince. Not the approach I was expecting from you.
Could I...
Can I piggyback on if he fails, can I throw a dagger?
Sure.
I need you.
I believe you.
You understand? I have 3 raises on 4 dice.
Very nice.
When the dice say yes, they say yes.
I got 3 10s and a 9.
Nice.
Well done.
Nice.
Damn.
I'm done for the session. That's my contribution.
It's like, I did my job. It's all you guys now.
Years from now, people would be like, Asgeir, why can you never do diplomacy? I did that one time.
Just one time. I totally got...
All I had.
He's got a hand on his sword, but you go shh, and he tilts his head confused. Then he sees Verity with a dagger ready to throw. And is like, oh.
What?
She's got an every border out of one of her daggers.
You do not fool me, ma'am. I can see your nails are immaculately pedicured already and do not need more care.
There's always room for improvement.
Asgeir will just walk up, like, throw an arm around, and like, you see that tree there?
No, we're in a blasted wasteland.
Exactly. Bam.
He's down. He's a brute.
Take his blade, hand it to a Brute Squad that didn't have one, or a better one.
And they actually, they all take a look at it, and it's better than anything they have. And so they actually hand it to Bob, And then he hands his sword to one of the others. They recognize that the named guy is probably, you have a name. I bet you're better with a sword than I, who do not have a name. And so he takes it and kind of balances it a bit and goes, all right. Well, it's guesswork from here, but apparently they are not on high alert.
Of course. Why would they be? They've been dealing with, you know what you have been doing. Are you expecting an assault from armed professionals?
They had us prepared to, but I guess they figured anyway.
By the time they hear the screams, they'll be ready.
Now,
You think they
Let's
would
go
be
say
more
hi.
concerned with an active volcano going off?
But I do not think it is active, not just yet anyway.
Having said that, there's
Why
immediately a
would-
low rumble.
With the minor wound you just said, and you'd be like, I don't think so. Verity would like gesture to the singe on her skirt, like, oh, okay.
Oh, I cannot see that.
If we stop acknowledging the volcano, maybe it'll stop doing things.
absolutely. Don't,
Just name it.
general
Name it something that's not scary. Like,
Wasn't it? I think it was Nikoletta in the last episode too, who
Yeah.
said, "Well, at least it's not. It could be worse. It could be
No.
active." And then,
Demetrius looked
I
over
made it
at her
worse.
and is like, I really need you to stop commenting on the volcano. I need you.
I don't
I-
understand why this is happening.
I didn't help because I immediately turned like, no, if it was active, there'd be like earthquakes and stuff.
Yeah, I
I do not smell any brimstone yet. I haven't smelled any brimstone.
Let's
yet.
not mention any brimstone, please.
How about no more adjectives and senses of smell? No more describing factors for the unknown.
No, much of the
A
sound is
chunk.
still very clear.
a chunk of rock actually falls out of the sky at that moment that was ejected by the thing and lands in the midst of the group, just for peak comic timing.
Not my fault.
And then
Oh,
Nicoletta's
oh,
orb
and the
starts
candle.
glowing inexplicably. Like, no, stop it.
No more volcano talk. No more.
And it does smell very powerfully of brimstone. Nicoletta, do any of your various concoctions need brimstone?
Brimstone, not so much sulfur, but I can always find a use for it, so I'll get several samples.
Just in case. since
See
we're
her
here.
like shrinking a little bit
Here.
onto a
How
piece
often
of paper.
How often do you get volcanic ash and rock on? Like, really?
All I picture is Nicoletta, like,
it beats
"Lord."
working with the spoiled eggs.
In Hawaii.
You're so valid for that. Scavenge away, you beautiful vulture.
I scare which
She's the cutest little magpie you ever did see.
Now I'm a magpie.
You all go further in, and you
They're
see
blackbirds
that
that
the
eat
camp. You go further in, and you see that the camp actually seems to be currently abandoned. That guard was the only one here.
Sad.
You see there are various dwellings, and they all seem to be empty. And as you're kind of going around, you take a look around, and nothing.
Oh, I don't like that.
Does what about supplies? Are supplies left? Like they're coming back? or is it
Yes.
cleared?
There is one frame that was built up. It looks primarily set up to protect it from the falling rocks and stuff that you have seen. Very much better enforced roofing than anywhere else, where a number of supplies have been placed, a good supply of food and stuff like that, and also little bits and bobs, treasure. Nothing, no like, this is a treasure hoard. More anything of value that was found on the wreckage or that people washed ashore with was taken from them and brought to this place.
All right. We're going to take that with us. Well, on our way back.
So less dragon horde, more crow horde.
I
Mhm, exactly,
imagine there are
yeah.
some mementos and precious items from the people we have rescued there in there. So
Is anyone taking a look at the pile at this particular moment?
Pile
Nicoletta?
of what?
The various supplies and things, the bits and bobs that were taken from people.
Yes, Verity is going to endeavor to notice things.
Another man's treasure.
She is actively noticing.
Well,
All
good.
of
Then everyone who is getting involved in this, Nikoletta, Arnau, and Verity, give me your wits and notice. There are no risks on this.
Just wit.
Well, actually, no. There might be some sharp things in. So if you get a little too throw your hands in, you could take some minor.
No,
So I'm
she's
gonna
poking
say-
at it with her sword, like flipping stuff over, smooshing. She's not no bare hand. Look at these nails.
So you have one raise to find a thing, 2 chances of minor wounds, maybe from frustration, and an opportunity. However you want to spin those out. So with 2, 2 and 3, how do you all want to break that down? So you will each succeed in your search. There is 2 wounds on the table and an opportunity. How do you want to spend your raises after the one, which is success?
While we are all digging through and trying to find various things, I want to have Nikoletta have noticed any sharp glass and try to kind of like quickly yank it out of the way, trying to use my hanged man virtue to accept a risk of a consequence in place of another hero.
Oh, okay. Nikoletta taking wounds onto herself. For who specifically? For Arnau or for Verity?
I'm sorry, probably for Verity.
To Verity.
You don't need to do
Just don't tackle your coat. Ow.
Arnau is taking the wounds himself because he's going straight for that opportunity.
Okay. So it's 1 or 2 wounds, and then everyone, and there's an opportunity for each of you.
I was like, I'll get all cut up for the opportunity. Bring it on, Arno. Rock, paper, scissors.
Mhm. On your base notice, are all of you going for the opportunity? Can I assume? Okay. And Nikoletta, and how many wounds would that be for you, Verity? You had 2 raises, so with the opportunity then, so I think that's going to be a total of 3 minor wounds to you, Nikoletta. If I'm doing that math right. You all are able to get a pretty good sense of what is here. And get it a little more organized, apparently things that were just kind of being chucked there in the past. Though not as much as you would, each of you would sort of note, if they've been collecting for years stranded on this island, you would expect this to be a bigger pile, particularly given the number of wrecks and stuff that you saw in the bay. Like, yeah, folks wouldn't have a lot, but they've been doing some diving, there's stuff like that. You would expect this to be a bigger treasure pile. As you're digging through, each of you comes to a different conclusion. Nikoletta, you remembered Asgeir having his reaction to the name of the ship, the Stormcaller, down in the camp. You find the ship compass. No, it wouldn't be a ship compass.
The sextant?
Sextant, yeah. You find the ship sextant. So very clearly, not just a piece of driftwood. The sextant of the ship is in the group. Arnau, you find a dagger of fine Vendelique make, the kind that they only gave to their traveling agents. And stuff like this. These weapons were specifically kept in-house. Daggers, I'm going to get the name of this wrong, but like a length and a half style dagger, just shy of a short sword, designed to be usable in tight quarters, like below decks on a ship. And Verity, you find.
Do you mean a dirk?
A dirk. That's the one. But again, like a dirk gives a feel of like this. It's elegant. It is incredibly well made. Not Draconizing or anything like that, but top-notch Vestin Montagnard steel. And Verity, you actually discover a locket that also bears a Vendelique insignia.
Does it open?
It does. And you're looking at it's water damaged. That looks a lot like a younger Asgeir.
She'll just come back to that later.
In the secret pocket.
The hardest pocket to pick.
Demetrius.
Tag me in, coach.
We're all professionals here.
You know what? It's not a tag team belt, but we'll take it.
It's whatever. He has to get through my woman's woman first.
Yeah.
All right. You all have found these different things, and Arnau, this would be particularly concerning for you. If for no other reason than you don't remember a lot of records of lost Vendel ships. The League is not in the habit of sending ships on particularly high-risk missions. They tend to outsource those. So a ship like the Stormcaller, which was actual League property, would have stuck to as safe a route as they could make. The sort of route that people might bring children along with them on.
Safe route as they can make. Looking at the blade, does Arnau see any markings of a specific forge master or anything like that?
One moment.
Someone who he might know because he has been in the Vendel League for a while. A long while now, actually, about half of his life.
Well, as it happens, you are yourself regularly in the company of a master crafter of the League. And you see his mark. Asgeir made this dirk. This is why we have the corsets.
No, it's just like see Arnau also just being like,
Asgeir, think fast.
What the?
Asgeir stabbed in the temple. Now, I'm going to say Asgeir is actually kind of hyper-focused at the moment.
Oh, yeah,
And actually manages to get. Yeah.
I was gonna say, can it get stuck in his beard?
You know what? I'm down for that. Like he just turns to the like, oh, hey, I remember this.
That one's yours.
Oh,
Ja, I found the sextant as well.
I didn't find anything.
Is Asgeir in a point where he would be suspicious of that statement? I leave that
No.
entirely to you. Okay.
no, he has not gotten a bead on Verity yet. He's like,
Mhm.
she's a very strange woman. She can't kill me, so not that attractive, but very strange.
Oh no.
Oh, the number of ways I could kill you.
Promises.
Oh no, I don't make promises. I don't like keeping them.
Now, Asgeir, these dirks, you did make a lot of them.
Mm.
But with all of the other context clues, you can't look at this and say, clearly this was the dirk I gave to Sigrun. But a lot of context clues are adding up.
Yeah. Yeah, he just stuffed that in the belts.
Mm-hmm.
We need to keep going.
Folks are looking around and it's like, well, Bob points, there is another path. It looks like it leads all the way to the crater itself.
Crater?
Yeah, the top of the volcano.
I'm very concerned with what they are doing with these children. She starts to walk a little faster.
So, since Verity is actively
Oh.
noticing, is there anything else about this presumably fake fort that is suspicious? Any other doorways? Any other buildings, structures, tents, footprints? Does it look like anything big was moved away?
You do see, as you're kind of glancing around, you took the, okay, so as you're glancing around and trying to read the situation as well as you can, you do find what seem to be wheel marks, treads. The volcanic dust is very fine up here, and it's not the easiest to sort out, but and there's a lot of rock. But as you're checking it out, it looks like a fairly large wagon stayed in this one place in the camp. And as you're kind of getting a feel for the fort, the camp, or whatever, it would make sense for there to be a building there. Everything is sort of arranged as if this would be a weird place for there to be an empty spot. It seems that something fairly large, roughly the size of some of the other lean-tos, was on wheels and was following the path leading up to the caldera.
I think Bob is right. I think they did go that way. And they rode on a very big wheeled vehicle of some kind, bigger than a cart, big enough for a house.
Odd.
House on
A
wheels?
mobile home.
And as the stuff in the air starts to actually be more noticeable, she's just gonna pull out her sword and start cutting parts of her skirt off and handing basically scarf length strips of her skirt to everyone to wrap around their faces. She'll
And that
do
is in
herself.
fact helpful because the fumes are getting bad.
She would cut up her skirt until it was as short as she could allow, so that she could also give some to the gang that's helping them.
Are there any water barrels around?
No.
No? Damn it. Well, then I pull out my flask. There's just a relatively small canteen, and she just starts to dab a little bit just on the part that's going to go over her mouth and hands it around to everybody else, saying, make sure to get the part in front of your mouth wet. It does a better job of filtration that way.
With these treated wet masks, you all start following the path.
Verity looks like she's walking up that hill in a tutu.
It's
Out of
April
curiosity,
from the
does she
13
have?
Turtles.
Is she doing the thing where she had the duelist breeches underneath, or is she legitimately just rocking this in a short skirt?
Due to the non-preparedness of when the ship was swarmed by zombies and then followed into the storm and a wreck, she's been stuck in what she's been stuck in. So there was no ability to be prepared. So that's why she is just knee-high ribbon-tied stockings and bloomers and now very short tattered tutu.
But
it looks amazing. When her sword's put away and it just hangs so long compared to the skirt.
Demetrius, I'm going to need you at a -1 on all notice checks for the rest of the So we
distracted by Verity's legs.
Yeah.
Legs
got legs.
Just walked right into just shit.
Ankles. Huh?
I know, ankles. Look at these dams.
We're getting Victorian up in here. All right. So as you're following the path, and the smell is getting bad, but the masks are immediately helping, and you're moving along, and you start to hear voices. And it's tough because the closer to the crater you get, the louder the crater is, and you can hear this deep, it's like bubbling, boiling water, but a lot lower. I don't know if any of you would ever have been in a position to be near lava. Asgeir and Arnau maybe, because there are at least some, like, no active volcanoes, but there's a lot more geologic activity invested in Manavinyar than in the mainland.
Maybe working the forge would be a close representation, but even that's like.
Kelsey, yeah, and it's a very ominous sound. Nikoletta, no.
Yeah. And as you start approaching over that, you start hearing chanting in a language you don't entirely recognize.
Even me.
Oh wait, you have linguist, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Nikoletta. It's old Eisner. Old Eisner. Long before the dead started rising, long before the 30 Years' War, long before the old empire.
There is just a steady string of Eisen curses as she starts kind of jogging that direction now.
Most of you at this point have heard Nikoletta swear at some point, and so you're at least, she's not happy is immediately obvious. You don't know what it is exactly she said about someone's aunt, and you don't really want to know.
Yeah, the context clues alone are enough to, we killing people in this one.
It's like Verity's like, the last time she did that, there were dead people walking, and she's like looks around like, oh no.
But yet, notably, no moan. Y'all, all of you are familiar with the moan of the undead. That is not what you're hearing.
Are we in as much danger this time as we were on the boat? Nikoletta, slow down.
She kind of stops and goes, "So I've studied most of my life. How fast do you need to exercise more?"
I'm only saying slow down because of the fact that you're currently ahead of us.
Well, there is old Eisner. There is Eisner since before there was the undead in my country. This is I've only read this language in books. People don't speak it.
There was a time where there was before undead in Eisner?
Yeah.
Oh, we're in
Your
huge
language
danger. Okay.
Nikoletta, it's taken you a while to translate. You were able to recognize how old the language was, but you are working in your head. You don't have your linguistics notes with you, and you're sorting it through, translating in your head as you go along, and then you realize it's summoning language.
Another string of eyes and curses, and she'll explain that to everybody. So they're summoning something. I don't. It's this is the. I need my notes.
Well, it's time to launch an all-out assault.
Yeah.
Before they can manage to finish that ritual. Let's go.
I need wits and notice from everyone except Nikoletta.
Wits.
Huh? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. Actually, no. Hang on, because this isn't so much a risk. It's only an opportunity, and all of you have. Who of you has 2 or higher in notice? We're not going to do the roll. We're just gonna do the Okay, so Alastriona and Arnau.
I've got 2 in notice.
Yeah, but you don't get to notice this because you are quite distracted. As
I'm trying real hard, but I got 0 notice.
One note, and
I was working with 1, and she cropped down to a skirt. I'm working with nothing.
Yeah. Alastriona and Arnau, you're trying to keep up with Nikoletta and be like, don't walk alone into the midst of all of this. And then you notice coming, Nikoletta has a satchel that she usually wears on her side, just that she can just reach into. And Arnau, it takes you a second. And Alastriona, you too, you realize something inside it is glowing very brightly.
Hey. Your bag.
Huh? What is it?
You have a bit of a sparkle to you. And considering you, this is concerning.
It's not The heat did not change. It is cool to the touch. It is glowing. You have never seen that before.
I need my notes. I need my notes. I need my notes. I need my notes. She's just freaking out because she left the damn journal on the fucking boat. I can't write notes.
You all crest to the top and you look down. You realize you get to the point. Any of you who are among the more nervous and be like, maybe we shouldn't go into a battle on the edge of an active volcano. And you're almost at the point where you're like, oh, they're not here, so we should probably get away from the edge. And then you realize the path crests over the edge and goes down into the caldera itself. And as you look over the edge, you see that there is a long platform, very similar to Return of the King, that like thing that went into Mount Doom that Frodo and Sam went out into holding the ring, over where you can see the active lava in the caldera down below you. The heat is painful. And on this platform, a good another probably 50, 60 feet down into the crater itself, you see this circle of a ragtag group of men and women, their hands up in the air, reciting this. And there's a very rote sense to it, almost to the point that the words that they are repeating are memorized syllables, not language that they actually understand. And right at the edge, you see a large wagon, much like Verity described, larger than your usual wagon. Most smaller roads in most towns in Thea could not accommodate it. On it is a cage. And in the cage are children.
Sacrificing the baby.
Nope.
Before we all dive in, Nikoletta's just going to hold her arms out. Do not kill any of them until we disrupt the ritual. We never know whether it's going to feed it or not. So let's get it disrupted first, and then we kill. They're about to toss kids off into a volcano. They ain't go. Nah, absolutely not.
No, of course, we kill.
Instructions unclear.
Don't kill yet.
Wait. Patience is a virtue.
Oh.
Asgeir,
Mm-hmm.
do you think you could slow me?
Like now or like later on the boat or
No.
okay. Absolutely.
Rev's done. You broke him.
Okay.
His face is chartreuse. That's not true. Chartreuse is like a lime green. That would be crazy.
We'd have to sicken him for that.
So,
Magenta.
okay. Fair.
Burgundy.
I get the impression this is not going to be the last time you all make me blush. So, what precisely is the throw in mind?
Where's the most of the chanters?
Most of the chanters are out, like
are they like
imagine-
gathered around some fire, circling it as they chant, or are they just standing together in a huddle?
The platform that juts out over the lava is roughly spoon shaped, and they are in like the bowl of the spoon, which is towards the middle of the caldera. And as you're looking, you realize it's actually reinforced.
And none of that has noticed us.
None of them have noticed you yet. They all seem to be staring inwards and doing the chanting.
At the closest we could get before being in plain sight, how far is that to the spoon?
If any of them looked up, they would see you now. The fact that they haven't seen you is more to do with
And we're kind
being
of
distracted.
above-ish right now.
Yeah. You are at the top. You are at the edge of the crater. Any further is going down into the crater. So if you were to follow the path down, again, because it's a long, narrow path, there is really no stealthing that. It's just a matter of if any of them look.
So yes, Asgeir, I want you to throw me at the chances.
With pleasure. And he kind of like holds his arms out.
And she's gonna like hop up cheerleader style, just like ready to be lofted.
So, and then he's going to do.
And then
two
Demetrius
things.
passes out from the view behind.
I have to steady myself on now. Just
Anime nosebleed.
He hates to see her go, but
Ooh, does she look good doing it? So yeah, he scoops her up, and he's gonna do two things. First, we're just gonna find a boulder, and we are running and jumping against it to turn it into a Captain Jack Sparrow style surfboard to ride down this like incline. And when we get close enough, he's tossing her.
okay. So that sounds like a brawn athletics from Asgeir.
Plus the extra.
And and I'm going to say three minor wounds possible from that.
Well, I got
but just the
3.
one. All right, so you're going to take 1 minor wound, but you'll succeed.
Worth it.
And Verity, you have the tougher job.
No, don't worry about it. I have perfect balance. Whether or not I land well is not in question. So we can just continue.
All right, so this is all down to Asgeir's aim, and he managed it. So you all watch.
Don't throw me in the lava. That's all I'm asking.
Mm-hmm. You give the toss, and Verity, it's impressive. There are flips as she.
Arms out, sword, dagger. She's ready to like Trinity in the fucking Matrix right now. Okay.
And we're gonna say, like, the physics don't really work out, but who cares? You anime land in the middle of the circle, and they all stop and look up at you, except for 3. Like, they all look at you, and most of them kind of stop. But 3 of them at basically triangle points of the circle, so equidistant from each other, continue the chant.
The 1, 2, because it'd be in her right hand. If she hears that she can hear them chanting still, they don't break. She would throw the dagger in her right hand at the one to her right. And I guess since Nikoletta said don't kill anybody, she'd throw it at their leg.
Okay. We are now in combat.
Yeah.
Verity is in the midst of it. Asgeir is about halfway, and the rest of you are watching perturbed. So we need approaches. Verity, I'm assuming you're. Are you focusing on ranged attacks, or is it sword time?
I just threw my only dagger at. I'm
All right.
I was
But you did
thrown,
throw your
and then I threw, and then here we are. Swish, swish,
Okay.
like.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to give you your normal finesse and weaponry. Your first raise is going to go towards throwing the dagger. The second raise is going to go towards drawing your sword.
No.
Drawing your non-throwing dagger, because your style is sword and dagger, and there's throwing daggers and dueling daggers. So I'm going to say 1 raise for the throw, the other to prep yourself for your dueling style, and then you are in melee combat. Okay. Asgeir, you're running in. What's your approach? Or riding in?
Yeah, no. As
Surfing.
soon as that, like rock surfing in.
He's rock surfing.
As soon
He's
as
a
he
rock
gets close
star.
enough, it is like that gif of the guy getting launched in the catapult with the axe, just leaping up and just swinging.
All right. So that's going to be a finesse and weaponry from you, because you're being all acrobatic about it.
Weaponry.
Demetrius.
New one.
Charging in with the brute squad.
Okay.
sword in hand, ready to severely wound
And that's a 3
everyone I come across.
skill.
Also, random question after this whole skirt incident. Would this go to my hubris, the lovers? You receive a hero point when your hero becomes enamored with someone he really shouldn't.
100%. Are you currently enamored with Verity?
I think at this point,
Yep. Take you a hero point.
Charging in with that kind of flair style. After, yeah, and I was like, well,
100%.
Goddamn time.
I will ask Demetrius. Are you focused on leading the brute squad, or are you focused on fighting yourself?
Focus on fighting myself. It's just the order. I'm just kind of coming in with the brute because I'm not really much of a. Because I guess my follow-up question before I answer that, does that change certain mechanics as far as fighting with the brute squad or leading the brute squad?
So if you make a panache warfare roll, you will directly influence how the brute squad fights.
Gotcha.
And that will change their mechanics. If you do your usual finesse and weaponry, it's just you fighting, and they handle themselves like a brute squad.
Okay. All right. No, then it'll be just for this one. I'll just me fighting.
Okay. All right. So that'll be finesse and weaponry from you, Alastriona. Watching the flight. That seems so. How am I supposed to woman's one? What do you do things like that?
Like, honestly,
It's all about
like,
how you woman to get to me before everybody else.
Like, that's honestly probably more her thing. She's like, well, I'm going to follow that trajectory.
All right, go ahead.
Behind Verity.
Because you're focused on closing the distance at this point, we're going to have you go with your brawn and athletics to get into it. You will still be bringing down brutes when you get there, but this will get you there faster. Arnau?
So Arnau is not really going to be leading the brute squad, but he's going to say a thing. Look at their eyes. Look at these men who have made you suffer for this long. Let it go. And do what you feel is correct in this moment in time. To the brute squad, and then point towards the group of them.
Panache convince.
Can I argue for tempt because this is an emotional thing?
Oh, yeah. No. They are definitely outnumbered and outweaponed. So you are convinced. You are tempting them with something that's against their better interest. So 100%.
Lovely. Make it a
5.
thing.
Oh. 3.
And
I have
would
never
you
rolled so many ones, but luckily, because of Lyceum, that gets a little better. Okay, but I'm
would you
still get 3 rolls.
also consider this being hurling myself into a dangerous situation?
Yes, hurling yourself and others. Oh,
That's a-
Verity, also, this is your hero point for Edge of the Sword to do something you believe in.
So that's a
Now
hero
that
point for Asgeir.
you're
Cool.
so take you the hero point.
So that would mean I have. Cool. So I got like 4 hero points right now, you guys. If anybody needs one later, let me know.
All right, so 4. Okay, so Arnau, you are not going to participate in the fight on this one, but you are going to boost the brute squad dice. With what you've done. So that's a 3 for that. So for those who are going into combat, and Nikoletta, sorry, I didn't get your approach.
I'm going to go for a convince, and I actually have a little speech here if you'll let me pop it off real quick.
Sure, go for it.
You have chosen victims who cannot fight back, believing that makes you strong. It does not. It makes you prey. I am not here to bargain. I am not here to plead. I am here to offer you a choice. Leave now, abandon your wretched work, and vanish from my sight. Or stay and be unmade.
Nice.
Verity is
All right.
very turned on right now.
The polycule begins. That's going to be, so that sound, you wanted that to be convince?
Yes.
It felt very intimidate to me.
I'm trying to be convincing.
No,
Had to
this
be.
was this was do what I say or die. That is very definitely an intimidation check. Sorry.
Being convinced, son of a bitch. Okay, what am I doing?
I don't think I'm out of line saying that was an intimidation check.
I'm just
But it was-
weaseling for my 3
But it
dice
was
instead of 1.
cutesy and demure.
What else?
But remember
Okay, so
flair.
yeah, intimidate and what else?
Panache.
Okay, well that's not too bad. It's 1, 2, 3, and then I get 1 extra because I'm at a major wound. Haha.
All right. So that was 3. Okay. So just to get this all clear in my head, because a lot's going to start happening in 1 second. Arnau, your speech is quite effective, and the 6 remaining brutes are now going to fight as if there were 8 of them because of the boost that you gave them to their morale. You're not making them better at fighting, but they're fighting like there's more of them. So that's kind of the difference between that kind of a speech and a warfare role. Let's see. So those are the 2 non-combatant roles. There are 35 of them in this circle. Verity, you throw the dagger, and one of the 3 chanters takes the hit. And you said you were going for the leg, right? Because you weren't going for the kill.
Yes, because Nikoletta said don't do any killing because it could go bad.
Yes. So one of the chanters grabs the dagger. They are trying to continue the chant, but you've certainly disrupted them. They're quite distracted by the blade that is now in their leg. And as you prep yourself for the fight, you all watch as these folks who are disrupted rush in. 3 of them fall at Verity's blade as she dances and moves among them. Asgeir, you had a total of what on your roll? 4. As you kind of rush in from behind, that back third, the third of the brutes who were closest to the caldera, they get distracted from their move on Verity, and they turn on you, and you are able to, after your successful jump, drop another 3 of them as you move into combat. Demetrius and Alastriona, how many did you have? 3 and 3. As you all come together, it takes you a bit to catch up to them, but moving in, another 6 fall by both of your blades. So you've put in some damage, but now it is their turn. First up, I am spending a villain point, and 2 of them pull guns. Verity and Asgeir both you are automatically jumped to your first dramatic wound, as you both take shots from pistols.
Okay.
That's the shooter's done. You removed 3. Okay. They're going to be evenly split between Verity and Asgeir. And you are each going to, except for the furthest out, that is going to be another 4 dramatic wounds to both of you. Not 4 dramatic, sorry, 4 minor, sorry. 4 dramatic would be you're dead. And down. But you take another 4 minor wounds on top of what you have. And the 2 chanters. Oh, and now the brute squad gets in. Unfortunately, your brute squad goes last because they had to traverse the distance. But they crash into the group. And dang. Their 6 managed to bring down 9 as they move in, and it's getting pretty bad. And a couple of them are actually knocked over the course of the battle. A couple of them. Oh, dang it! Sorry, I'm getting thrown off because you all usually do not have a brute squad of your own. Verity and Asgeir take 2 fewer minor wounds. Those are going to go towards the brute squad instead.
Even though the shotgun jumped us to our first major?
Yeah, the minor wounds that you took after the gun shot you, reduce
Okay.
those by 2. The brute squad will absorb those instead. Bob is still standing and one other guy.
How many
But they,
I've gotten?
huh?
How many should I have?
You killed 3. You disabled the singer. Well, you took down 3. You mechanically took 3 out of the fight. Your first was dropping the one guy with the thrown dagger, and then the 3 you took down with your sword.
Oh, but did I take any minor wounds?
Yeah, I said you both took 4, but you actually took 2 after the dramatic wound. And that's their brute squad coming on you in the fight.
Okay, so I think that puts me at my first.
No, the pistol shot put you automatically to your first dramatic wound. So you automatically fill up all the mind. That's what gunfire does in this. So when you were shot, you immediately went to your next dramatic wound. And then an additional 2 from melee combat with the brutes. It would have been 4, but your own brute squad absorbed some of that for you.
So we're just 2 over the dramatic.
Yeah, you are 2 over your first dramatic wound now.
Yep.
And what happens when we go to our first dramatic wound?
At your first dramatic wound, all of your dice pools go up by 1.
Cool.
Because it's the old swashbuckler, I'm injured. I am not left-handed. The game.
Adrenaline. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So you're now taking the fight seriously. And we are into the new round. You are all, everyone except Arnau and Nikoletta are in the mix. Nikoletta, you, three of their brutes were not engaging in the fight based on your threat. They can't get out though. The only way out of the volcano is blocked by you all, but they were not actively fighting in that battle. So everyone else is now functionally in the spoon for the fight. You are now spooning. What is the fight? How are we doing this? Approaches, please. Let's start. Verity, you've been shot. You've also been beat up a little bit. What's your approach?
How many more of the chanters are how many?
Two of the chanters are still chanting, and one is crying, but is still he will not return to chanting this round. But he's not down. He's hurt, but not down. You distracted him. You didn't kill him.
Well, I'm going to go for the chanters. Wait. Okay. Is this spoon able to reach where the kids are?
Yeah. The wagon did not come out onto the platform, but it's at the base of the spoon, for lack of a better word. It's still technically on the outer crater and not in the thing that goes out over the main.
Well, I mean, how many feet from me? How many yards away are the kids?
If you were to run to that, you would be running back up the spoon. So that would probably be this round running to the kids. And
so
you would
everyone
have to
else is closer to the kids right now than I am.
Everyone else is closer.
I'm the farthest. Cool. I'm just establishing where my priorities should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I'm going to go after the next closest still chanter. And I will be saying, as I have since Nikoletta had her speech, is crap. Forgot how to say it in French. Whatever. She says, "Do not beg for my blade," as she comes towards them.
All right. Are you trying to talk them down instead of fight them? Is that your approach here, or do you have the sword out?
That's her approach in most duels. That's why that's her phrase that she says.
Mm-hmm.
She will always tell them, it's like, you don't have to die.
All right, then give me your panache and intimidate. Nikoletta, your approach.
Seeing that 3 of them have kind of started to keep to themselves, I'm going to try to skirt around the fight because I love y'all, but I'm not any good in a fight. I'm really not. And I want to get to the kids and pick that lock.
Like I said, the kids. The fight is not between you and the kids. The wagon is on the edge, and all of them are in the middle of the caldera right now. So you can easily get to the kids and get to work on the lock. That will be your finesse and
0 point to
That's-
Nikoletta.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want you
take
to
your extra 3. Demetrius.
Jesus, I don't have that many D10.
Alrighty. Getting up in the brutes, getting
Nice.
up to the
Nice.
Finesse.
going to take out all those throwing daggers I raided from when we were at the Queens, and I'm going for thighs. I'm hitting shoulders. I'm making it hard for them, and I'm just
All right, finesse and aim.
go.
Alastriona.
We are going to go for her signature move of the Inishmore blender. She's doing terrible for her.
You know what?
All right.
I'll give up a hero point for that.
All right.
Hey,
Brawn and weaponry. +3. Plus another for flair, I believe. So
let's see, because wait. Okay, hold on. Math. I'm too queer for math. Finesse, weaponry, and then my fencer, and then is it 2 for hero points or is it
3 if someone else spends a hero point for you.
all right? I also don't have enough d10s out yet. Okay, hold on.
Arnau, while the D10 math is mathing.
Arnau's going to look at the 3 that Nikoletta intimidated.
Mm-hmm.
If you bring me one of the ones who chant, gagged, not only will you be pardoned of your crimes, you'll be given a safe ride home and all of the wealth that the Vendel League can provide for a fun retirement.
Way to make it attempt there at the end. Panache attempt. Sans flair, because this is your second time rolling it.
Yeah.
I will say obviously the risks here are mostly in terms of having the opposite of the intended effect. So you'll make your pitch. You might make someone else fight harder, realizing, oh, this is what we're doing. So we'll see what happens there. And Asgeir.
So, Asgeir's going to go after that last chanter.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to use his axe, but not in the way that probably comes to mind. He's going to flip it sideways, get him in the hook, and bring him in to smash him in the face.
All right. That is going to be, your brawn and weaponry.
Oh, I get to re-roll one because of where my attempt
Brawn,
is.
weaponry, +1 for my wound.
Doesn't change
All right,
anything.
so first we'll get the non-combat roll. So that is Arnau and Verity. So that's 4 raises for Arnau.
Mm-hmm.
So the 3 are not in one grouping. Like everyone heard Nikoletta yell, and so the 3, but they kind of identify each other. They look up at you, and they look around. They are currently evaluating and looking for the chanters. They're not going to act this round because they're still trying to get a sense of what's happening. But you've taken them out of the fight, and next round you'll see how they actually follow through. Verity, what was your roll on your intimidate? 4. 4 of them also kind of look back nervously. A couple of them don't even have weapons on them really, or like one of the ones who had a pistol, all they had was the pistol and they don't have another shot ready to go. And as you took a shot, like he shot you and you started walking towards him like, really, we're going to do more. And he's like, I'm not sure what to do with this. And 4 of them seem to be frozen. And the combatants Asgeir and Demetrius. That's 3 from Asgeir.
Wait, I forgot to roll a die. Hold on.
Oh, and Alastriona, who I'm sure has an ungodly number of raises.
Doesn't change anything.
6.
Yes, it does. That makes it
6.
4.
10.
My bad.
14.
I forget I get another bonus die when I use a two-handed weapon.
Mm-hmm. The battle is bloody slaughter as Alastriona, Demetrius, and Asgeir are moving in with sense of threat. Like, as you're moving in on the last of the chanters, Verity walks basically through the people who are supposed to be protecting the chanter, and they just get out of her way. When you get to the chanter, who has not stopped Verity, what are you doing?
I'll put the point of my sword into their cheek, almost at the corner of their mouth, so that if they did continue chanting, they might even cut themselves.
Do you want to know how I got these scars?
Why?
He
so
stops.
mysterious?
And she'll just hold it there. Because I feel like all of us are just doing whatever Nikoletta tells us at this moment.
Alastriona is a tiny red-headed ball of fury. You've all seen her fight. You've not seen her fight like this. And she is just dropping. Is she trying to keep people alive as per Nikoletta's instructions, Alastriona, or is she not caring?
Oh yeah, she'll keep to what Nikoletta asked for. But
So guys are
always
losing
don't
limbs.
Kill them.
Yeah.
She didn't say how bad she could.
Nikoletta was very clear on killing. She was a mite fuzzy when it came to kneecaps. And it's just going around and people are being cut and hurt, and arms are being cut off at the elbows as she's just moving through, knocking everyone back. And between all the rolls, they have the brute squad. On 2 10s on 2 dice, I'm going to say Bob and his cohort are still standing as they are fighting brutally, knocking another couple off. There are still, like I said, there's folks who are standing, but none of them are combatants in this moment. They've been overwhelmed by the combat of just and Demetrius, again, knocking, just taking people out. How is Demetrius fighting in this moment? Also received the don't kill. So how's he going about dropping his 4?
With all the different throwing daggers, he's hitting him in the leg, right there in the shoulder. I'm stabbing you're bleeding out. As long as you hold you'll be fine as long as you hold. But it not being pleasant. I'm definitely taking another thumb somewhere along the way.
Oh yeah. Question: if you are intentionally torturing, like removing someone from combat is one thing. Causing pain for the sake of causing pain will be a corruption point. Is that what Demetrius is doing?
The pause is concerning, Thea.
No, not for now.
Okay.
He's being vicious, but we're not
Yeah.
there just yet. Thank you for how to give that a thought.
Yeah. Now, because it's the thing you can do and understand. That's a bunch of kids in a cage. The anger's legit, but do you take? Yeah, do you let it take it?
I had to contemplate that. It's not Lord Monterey. We're not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. As you are moving around and stabbing, dropping, so Alastriona is just an enraged hurricane. Demetrius is not much worse behind, again, taking people out. And Asgeir, you see almost none of it as you walk through. There are guys in your way. They get batted aside because your goal is the chanter.
That one.
And you get through, and he's there, and he's backing up away from you. I need to remember not to do that myself so my mic does not freak out. And started, but I remembered, and getting closer and closer to the edge. Nikoletta, what were your raises on the theft?
4.
4 raises. How many dots do you have in theft?
I have 2 dots in theft. Like that's
Okay.
that's what I started with. But
Yeah, you get in and you have your little tools and all of your little things, and you just move. And the lock is hot to the touch, just because it's been in this heat for so long. But you get in and you manage to pop the lock, and you see the kids all huddled, and they look up at you with scared eyes. You've got three young boys, 2 young girls. You would guess anywhere from the age of 9 to 12. All kind of looking up at you, nervous. Is it still coming?
I do not know, little ones, but we are going to play a game. Yeah, do you? I guess you all enjoy games. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's play foot race then. Who can get out of here the fastest? Come on, let's go.
And they go and they move, and you are getting there. And then there's a moment of quiet on the battlefield. And you hear as the battle behind you is stopping. And you look around like, oh, they managed that fast. That was good. And you hear a concluding word in old Eisner as the axe loops behind his neck and Asgeir pulls him in for the headbutt. And the headbutt has a concussion sound to it. That Asgeir can hit someone pretty hard in his head. He's pretty hard-headed. That was too loud. It was almost like a thunderclap.
Scheisse.
Asgeir, as the guy says this last word and then gets hit and goes unconscious right there next to you, you look past him, and in the lava, down in the caldera, you see what looks to be a pirate ship that was not there a second ago.
Kind of like does that, like had his axe in one hand, shifts it to 2 hands, and kind of like calls over his shoulder like, "Get the kids out!"
Fucking on it. Foot race in process.
All of you look down. Well, that's actually a good question. Nikoletta is focusing on getting the kids out. What's everyone else doing in this moment? And this is like 100 feet down into the lava. Like, this would be quite the jump to get down to it.
Can I kill people yet?
Glancing. Is there any kind of marking on the ground or whatever? Any circle drawn or anything?
In your running backwards away with the kids, you don't trust your glance to know. There look like there are scratches in the sand, but you're not close enough to really evaluate them from where you're at.
If there's a circle, disrupt it and then kill.
So Verity, being so good at noticing right now, is gonna look down.
You see markings in the sand, and you're at the edge. In fact, it's a circle and a triangle.
The sand. So in the time that I've been dancing and swirling and slashing, did I disrupt the circle?
It's still intact.
Bullshit.
You landed in the middle.
Look, I can't even walk across chalk on my freaking back porch with my daughter without screwing it up. I messed up some sand.
I mean, maybe if you still had long skirts, but with the way it is now, you were just tiptoeing over them.
Fine, she's gonna like fuck up some lines under her.
Easily done.
She's gonna be like, somehow, while I've been walking around swirling with a sword, I failed to touch the ground. But now that I'm apparently touching the ground, I'm gonna mess up some sand. And then
now that you are on the edge of the circle,
some lava. Everybody cool with that?
I will say, anyone who has surrendered, which at this point is everyone, there are no active combatants.
In his cheek has said 0 words since my sword got in his cheek.
We are out of combat at the moment. Like, all of the combatants were taken down either with words or in the fighting that has happened to this point.
So my sword's
Kicking
still
someone into the lava now. I'm not saying no, but I'm saying it will be a corruption point.
How many of those do I get?
So this is important, and so we'll bring it up here so everyone at home can know how corruption points work as well. If you've played games like Vampire the Masquerade that have a humanity score, corruption works similarly. With every corrupt act, you will take on, the first time you add corruption, you gain 1 point. The second time you add corruption, you gain an additional 2, then an additional 3. But every time you gain corruption, you also then roll a d10. And if you roll under your corruption score, your character is immediately SPC'd and becomes mine to use as a villain.
So I have to do
None
what?
of you have corruption points at this moment. And you can't roll under a 1. So the first corruption point is free. I'm just pointing out, you also might want that freebie later.
I don't
Is
know.
it worth it for this guy?
Okay, so Verity is going to grab them and bring them close to her and says, what was going to happen to the children?
Yeah, you're right on the edge. This does not require a roll. He looks at you and he looks down and he's like, they take them.
Faye?
And he points to the pirate ship.
Hold on, this ship is sailing on top of the lava?
It's sailing in the lava as if it was water.
I am so mad Nikoletta's too busy.
And it
How
looks,
many children have
wood.
you given them?
Not that many shipwreck on. Since I've been here, 10 or 12.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm a mom. I'm sorry.
No, I support this decision.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I know you're like, you want to save that, and I'm like, I have a 4-year-old.
Stopping you. I just want you to know.
Can
I just want you to know the consequence.
can
That's
Demetrius
all. I'm
Penn
saying.
walk up? Am I noticing this?
Yeah, it is a little bit of a conversation. If anybody wants to stop Verity.
I'm not that
guy. I do want to walk up. Verity. Are you sure?
Am I sure I want to make a criminal pay for torturing and potentially killing children?
I pull out my
Bob-
pistol and shoot him in the
Bob
head.
walks up. Okay. Bob walks up, but is interrupted as Demetrius pulls the pistol and fires. And yeah, point blank shot to the head. He goes down. Demetrius, take your first point of corruption and roll the d10. You can't fail, but I'm just curious.
I rolled a 9.
All right, so you would have been fine.
I rolled a 7. Just saying.
And when he's like, no reason to put any more miles on your soul.
She's going to
Bob-
look at him in such a way that if he's paying attention, he will be surprised at the way she looks at him. But she'll fix her face real fast and then like turn away and put her sword away.
So Bob looks down at the ship and he's like, that's who. Those are the actual ones. They're the ones in charge. The ones at the camp were just the, oh, you assholes. And he looks at everyone who has their hands up and is kind of looking around and he's like, we would almost be doing you a mercy if we killed you now. But we're going to let you explain to them how you lost their prize. And he
So
looks at
tying
Demetrius
everybody
and
up
is
and
like,
leaving them here.
he's like, where are they going to go? You have the only ship. And actually, at that moment, Asgeir, you're still at the point, and you look down, and you see it's far enough away, and there's the smoke and the heat waves and everything coming off of the lava that it's hard to make out through the distance, but you see a figure step out onto the deck and look up at you. Very, very Montagnan, very foppish, like one of those pirate captains that's in super like dress, like almost looks like silk rippling in the wind of the air that's moving around. And he looks up and tilts his head Powderwig, yep. And turns and says something that you obviously can't hear, but you watch as the ship begins to turn. And you recognize that they're beginning to adjust the ballast. And the ship starts to tilt. And you realize they're setting up to fire cannon on the platform.
Yeah, at that point, it's turns like, move, go, cannons.
All right, everyone, we have a run. And as the cannon starts to fire, I am spending another one of my villain points. The threshold of raises has been put to 15 as you all begin your escape from the caldera. So, approaches. You need to get out of here as quick as you can. How are you going about doing that?
I'm not gonna get out as fast as I'm waiting until all the kids are out of the cage, and if there's one that looks like they're slower or they're favoring one leg, she's gonna pick them up and run with them. So I'm only going as fast as the slowest kid.
Yeah, but you said
There's
the
one.
cage and stuff isn't on the platform.
Yeah, the cage is not on the
So
platform.
she's
It's just
not even
on
on the platform. You're fine.
Ricochet
Well-
is a thing.
So she's going. There is one of the girls does seem to be smaller than the others. Young girl, blonde braids. You would guess of either Eisen or Vestin heritage, and you kind of pick her up and you start running up. That is going to be for you, unless you talk me and you haven't. This is going to be brawn and athletics because you are carrying a person, a small person. But a person.
I almost wanted
Demetrius.
to die because it's athletic carrying a small person.
You are muted.
Yeah, it's cannons are being aimed. I will try to convince Verity to run, and it seems like it's time to go, and immediately start running.
All right. Are you focusing on Verity or are you focusing on running and figuring she's with you?
I would focus on Verity to make sure that she's getting out of harm's way.
Verity, are you going to be running or is he going to have to do some convincing?
Oh, she'd run, but any of the other chanters that are in that same space, she's tripping people.
Mm-hmm.
Like
She's
she's
knocking people
literally
down,
gonna
so-
like foot out, just like you don't survive. Whoops! I don't get direct consequences.
Very, yeah. I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you. So as you're running out, this is going to be your, finesse and weaponry. You are moving out, but not particularly quickly. And Demetrius, because you are staying with her and just trying to keep her moving, I'm going to give her an extra die, but you are going to get the results of her roll. She'll be rolling for both of you.
Cool. May I
Alastriona.
also, as we're running, if I see any of the daggers are still in people, I'm like, thank you.
Sure thing.
Oh yeah, can she get her dagger?
You threw it in the guy on the other side of the spoon. You can. It's going to take time.
I have lovely daggers.
And I've never once asked you all to track ammo.
With her the dagger she throws and her duelist dagger and then her sword. Those are the only three things that are ever on her. And so I'm just
Okay.
like, but they're a set. They mad.
Oh,
Do you know how long it took me to find one where the color matched the braiding on the corset?
They don't
It is
put
cosplay
amethyst
set.
in very many daggers these days, okay?
Love it.
No,
Sure.
fine. She's just gonna say fuck it to the dagger and just trip extra people to deal with her frustrations. She'll run. All right, I'm rolling for both.
Fair enough.
Hero
Okay,
point.
Alastriona.
Hero point.
Get
Yep.
the 3. My life is in your hands.
Yeah.
Fine, it's plenty of dice.
Alastriona, your approach.
Okay. So would Alastriona have been able to see Nikoletta trying to like gather up all the children and things?
Mhm.
Okay. So I would like to spend a hero point to use my handy advantage and rig something near me to basically become like almost like a toboggan and be able to scoop up children and just speed off with them quickly.
I like that. Okay. So this
Oh.
isn't even a roll, it's just the time. So you are grabbing things, bits and stuff that you're finding around, and you're able to make a toboggan. It's not going to be of any worth to you until you're out of the crater, but the stuff that you're going to use is in the crater, and then you're going to start tobogganing down the side of the volcano. That sounds like
Yep,
fun.
and we're just gonna scoop kids up and onto the toboggan with me. Nikoletta, you
Arnau, you were always talking in that fight, so you are on the edge. You didn't go out onto the platform. How about you?
So he looks down at the cannons that are being moved up, pointing towards the platform. He's not standing on the platform, so he's like, "Well, that doesn't really apply to me." But he does take his axe, points it at the captain down there, and then he walks off.
All right. And there is a moment with this distance, and again, the smoke and everything, it's hard to be sure, but you know the captain saw it. And he gives a dagger is lifted up, and he gives almost a tip of his hat as you see the way. Asgeir, you were the furthest out onto the platform, standing immediately over it, and you look around, you see the children rushing up the side of the crater. Folks are leaving. You have an unconscious chanter down at your feet.
He's as good as dead. I don't care about him. He is going to go after that dagger, though, because we have a line that we're going to attempt to pull off later to make Dan blush again. That is my sole purpose behind this.
I seem to be there again. Just looking at the thing right now, just in concept. So, all right. So you're running for Verity's thrown dagger.
Yep.
Yeah, and you would have seen it because you were how she animated flew into the circle. So you were able to run there. Again, it will slow you down, but you're able to grab it. I'm going to say that's going to take your first raise, and then the second is actually getting out of the platform. And this is just a straight up run. So finesse athletics. Well, brawn athletics.
Brawn athletics. Same roll.
Question for point of clarification. Alastriona said that she was scooping Nikoletta onto the toboggan too. So do I get to skirt by without much on my one raise?
Your one raise is getting you up to the edge because Alastriona is taking her time, literally rocket raccooning a sled as she is going up this side. No tools, just hands.
Several children.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Spending my own hero point on me is 2 dice, right?
Yep.
All right, we're doing that.
No. Sorry. Spending a hero point on you is 1 die. On someone else is 3.
Still worth it. Okay, and that is not a 3 dot, so we have to math this out very carefully. All right, so that is 3 raises.
3 raises? Okay. So no one is taking wounds in this first bit.
This is my new favorite die.
Asgeir, you get over and you pull the dagger that Verity threw into the leg of one of the chanters as you start making your way out. Arnau, it's just a matter of turning and walking your way up, so it's not even really a risk for you with where you're at. Verity and Demetrius are kind of making their way, retrieving daggers, stabbing things as they move their way out. How many raises did you get, Verity? Oh yeah, you're fine. In fact, I'm going to say that's probably one more than you needed. Is there a scene edit you would like to spend one of those raises on? A way to change the scene to your advantage in some way with that spare raise.
As I am so good at noticing. Just actively noticing. Any of the chanters, the fallen people, is there anything of note, like upon them, quickly removed emblem, a medallion, anything to hint at what this group was, anything that we can use to understand what the hell's been going on or who they are.
As you go to pull a dagger out, it opens the coat that it had stabbed through in order to do so, and peeling open. Now you're still because you're down in the crater, so you're not in sun. And so when you open the coat, you see another black rose. And this one, you realize, is actually growing out of the guy's chest with thorns implanted in his pec muscle up the side.
That's the worst boutonniere I've ever seen.
Well, then Verity would pull off the covering from her mouth to grab and slash the rose off of the guy so that she could give it to Nikoletta.
As you cut it, it spurts blood like it was a vein.
Charming. And then she's going to keep running, now coughing.
Yep.
Can I grab the pistol that was used to shoot Asgeir and Verity?
You can, though you can immediately see it's probably not going to be good for a lot. It's in rough shape. But yeah, you can have a pistol of questionable quality.
Yeah.
Aha!
We can take some baseball bats to it behind a building later. Catharsis.
Office space, this shit.
Yes.
As you...
I can fix that.
Oh, he's like, oh, you want to fix the gun that just shot you?
Why not?
Okay.
Oh, I just remember. Did everyone remember the threshold of 15 on all those rolls?
Yes, I did, and it was impressive that I got to 4.
Good job.
Yeah.
Well done. All right.
Took a lot of
At this point, so
one of those
Alastriona
was made out of 4 dice.
I did not remember that, so I don't have any raises.
Oh.
Okay. Nikoletta, as you are starting, like you've got the little girl, and you're working your way to the caldera. You've still got Demetrius, Verity, and Asgeir behind you because they are occupied with other things as they're making their way out. You are having trouble climbing out of the caldera. You're doing your best, but the way is going, and this little girl is she's also doing the scared little girl thing where all she's trying to do is hang on. She doesn't mean to be choking you out, but she's kind of choking you out with her arms around your neck and just squeezing tight as you work your way up. And it is with this that the cannons start to fire.
Carrying all those books into the library did not prepare me for this.
Ooh, he got a good shot in.
Now we get to do that thing where we're all running as stuff is falling beneath us behind us.
All right. That is going to be everyone who is still on the platform. So Nikoletta, Verity, Asgeir, and Demetrius. That is going to be 4 minor wounds to each of you as the explosions start rocking. Though
Asgeir and I look great.
Well, I got bad news for you guys.
Is this the next dramatic?
Yeah, everyone's getting more dice now.
Yeah. So yeah, the you both take it as shrapnel comes in and is hitting you. Did anyone else get to a dramatic wound with this?
Yeah.
Demetrius and Nikoletta, you both get to your first hits as things are just exploding around you. Nikoletta, your analytical mind can't stop, even in the midst of this. And as you look down, you're almost sure that you're dead. Well, that everyone else is dead. You're not on the platform. But how could just this rock embankment take actual cannon fire over the volcano? And then you take a look around and you realize that it's actual columns of a material coming out of the volcano caldera holding the whole thing up. You've never seen that much Draconeisen before. It's a building made of this stuff.
I'm so mad I can't take a sample.
All right.
You also have
Next round.
you also have 2 extra villain dice, sir. This is my second major wound.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So 1, 2. So he gets 3 bonus dice to all of his rolls now.
Okay, yeah, you and I are both on our second dramatic.
Yep.
Me too.
So we have with 3 of you. All right. Everyone, Alastriona, you get up to the top, and you have finished your little toboggan thing. And some of the kids, there were a total of 5 of them. Nikoletta's carrying one. They kind of see what you're doing, and despite how terrifying it is, one of the boys and one of the girls is clearly down and is like, when is my turn? The others are still just running the way Nikoletta instructed them. And you're able to start getting them on, and it's rough. You don't know how much of a knock it can take, but it's there, and it will help them very quickly get away from the edge of the volcano as you stick them on. Arnau, you are also at the edge, so coming over the top. Are you also on Team Toboggan, or are you just running your way down on the other side?
If he sees, he's not going to leave a kid who is just like
Mhm.
tripped and fallen or anything. If he sees a kid who's not able to do, he's going to pick him up and try to.
The only one who seems not to be having any luck at all is the one who's currently being held by Nikoletta. She herself wasn't having any luck, and then Nikoletta picked her up and was not having any luck. But that going after them would involve going back down, and there are team members behind them. I'm just handling the people who are not in the crater anymore first.
So Arnau's not going to just keep walking away. Arnau is going to start basically motioning. He's going to try to find Bob, because Bob needs to make it out alive. If one of the ones that he had promised his wealth to, he's just gonna knock him out and leave him there.
Well, actually, 2 of the 3 are already dead, caught in the cannon fire.
That last one, he's gonna be like, you didn't get a chanter. I would go back down if I were you. You're not gonna have any luck on the mainland. You save yourself the problems of being executed by the government. So you stay here.
Asgeir, Demetrius, Verity, you 3 are able to get now to the edge of the caldera where Nikoletta is struggling. What is happening?
We didn't die?
Surprising. Immediately try to help Nikoletta up, and kind of, if I have to do a little bit more of a carry move, because she seems crazy injured. And actually Verity looks crazy injured. I'm not doing great. So if it's one of those, like, just everyone kind of helping each other with leverage and just kind of trying to.
Okay. Verity?
Well, if Demetrius is 3-legged racing with Nikoletta for support, Verity would assess if Asgeir, because he was the farthest, right? Because he went to get my sword.
Yeah. So he was the furthest away to begin with, and he went for your dagger.
So she would assess if he is even actually behind her still, and if he is, she would do the whole like let's brace each other, let's go. She'd take like a half step, wait, and then once they were in reach of each other, she would be like pulling him forward for them to move.
So all working together. At this point, it's not really a risk anymore. You're Asgeir.
Oh my god, are you gonna throw her again? Because I swear to God.
No, but because she is a wounded ally, so he refuses to leave anybody behind. So it's like there's a reach, there's a scoop, and we're running to use his loyal.
Take you a hero point. take you a hero point.
And now Verity is trying to keep her skirts down.
God damn it. God damn it.
You all get to.
If he's not
as
firemanning, that would just be the worst.
you-
Just
Hey, toss her
Asgeir
over her
and
shoulder.
Verity's ass just running behind everybody.
Remarkably, Demetrius gains a die to running now.
Oh,
what?
I'll follow that.
They
anyway.
accidentally drops Nikoletta. Oh shit! Sorry.
Nikoletta and the little girl drop. They roll. back
No,
into
not
the-
mute.
Sorry.
Asgeir, I will say, you come up, and as you're going, you're grabbing Verity to start getting her up. Nikoletta kind of turns as she gets an arm around Demetrius so they can sort of mutually help each other. And when you look for a second, the little girl looks like Yrsa. But it's not her. She's of an age that Yrsa would have been when she was lost, but that's been years now. Just similar. And you're able to join in and help, making sure no one gets left behind as you help them on their way up. As you're looking back over your shoulder, you're about to the edge, and you've expected another round of cannon fire by now. It's been probably about a minute as you're climbing up, and you look down, and the ship, its sails go out. They had been furled. I mean, they unfurl and immediately fill with the wind. And suddenly you hear wind, a roaring wind. You've heard of red squalls, of hurricane-style winds that come out of nowhere. They destroy ships. Anyone who experiences a red squall among lifelong sailors is said to be among the storm-kissed, people who are destined to die at sea. The rumor being that if you survived a red squall, it will come back to take you and doesn't care who else dies in the process. And you watch as this red maelstrom of wind surrounds the pirate ship and then gone, with a similar crack to what you heard before they arrived.
Totally not gonna have to deal with that later. Nope.
You also see the depression left in the lava where the ship had been. And as it flows in to fill and jumps up, there's this weird reverb. And you see little explosions start coming out of the lava. This thing's about to erupt.
Must go faster.
We are in a race to the bottom. Alastriona, you built the thing. How many people, along with the 5 kids, as you pick them up on your way, how many people would you say you can fit in this toboggan?
She would have tried to make it pretty big just in case adults needed it. And actually, she would have, noticing other people who were much more injured than her, she wouldn't have gotten on it. She'd have been like, you get on, like either Demetrius or Nikoletta's like on, and she's going to run instead and let them fly.
I'm going to say, in addition to the children, you've got room for 2 adults on this thing. Who gets
All
picked?
right, whoever's most injured, get on. Go.
Yeah. Like
Nikoletta.
Demetrius is like putting Nikoletta on it.
You get on.
And to keep her dignity.
And
right.
a gentle kick.
And the toboggan starts going down the side of the mountain. Everyone else, if you are on, if you are on the toboggan, I need your finesse. And actually, no, Verity. Nikoletta, you are all prepared to try to do the, okay, I've studied the physics. I will have to do this. I'll have to do this. But Verity has an ability that says she doesn't need that, and just almost instinctively knows exactly how to steer the thing with her balance. And the kids are having the best time they've had maybe in months.
Verity and Nikoletta are just actively keeping the kids from falling off since there's no seatbelts. It's just like,
Yeah.
yes, so fun. My side poking out. I'm gonna later. No, stay
Was that
inside.
just to clarify? Is that an always-on ability, or is that a hero activate? Use a hero point to activate ability.
That's her It's an advantage.
Okay.
So
Some advantages require hero points to trigger. So
it says, oh yeah, no, I had to spend a hero point when I did that. So like I'm down to 2.
So do you? I guess it's either you both have finesse and athletics rolls on the way down, or you spend the hero point and don't need it if you have one to spend.
Oh, I have 2 still.
Okay. So do you? I activated the ability. It's yours to turn on if you want it. So
yeah.
Okay. You use that. Everyone else, just as you're running down the side of the mountain, this is finesse athletics, because this is you trying to keep your balance while the ground is literally shaking underneath you. I'm going to say there's a chance for 3 wounds on this. The difficulty is still at 15 to get to a raise unless you roll a 10, which is an auto raise. And there is also an opportunity on the way down, but only the one. So
Okay, that's 14. That one makes it. Oh, okay,
Oh,
that
is it
took
still
everything.
15? Of course it is, you bastard.
Can I take the damage if I want the opportunity?
yeah, you do not have to mitigate any wounds. You have to succeed. So you need 1 for the success, and then you need the 1 raised to grab the opportunity. Alastriona, you got 2. And since the opportunity is already being grabbed, so you're going to take 2 wounds, mitigate the 1, and you successfully run down the side of the mountain. Demetrius, okay, yeah, you are able to mitigate all wounds.
2 10s.
Yeah. Awesome. That's why I leave that. A 10 should feel good. Like I feel like if 15, like if a 10 wasn't a raise, that's more vicious than I'm willing to let my villain
That would have
points
hurt
be.
my heart.
Yeah.
Guess who's at a dramatic wound now?
Oh yeah, Alastriona gets her first.
Welcome to the club.
Me too.
Alastriona, you're moving around, and there's at one moment you stumble and you put your hand down onto some volcanic rock, and it just slices your palm open. And you pull it up. But first dramatic wound, but you're able to keep moving. Arnau, are you at another dramatic wound yet with what you've taken?
Just hit my first dramatic wound.
So yeah, you are moving and making your way down the mountain, and then there's one place where a geyser blows in front of you, and you get burned. And it's a pretty bad burn to your face and your hands as you kind of put them up, as you get very bad sunburn style burn that hits you. Back weight, you hit it. But in that moment that kind of disrupts your mad rush, you look down and you see a chart that had been knocked under this particular rock that you were by, and you're able to reach down and grab it. You don't really have time to study it now in your mad dash off of an actively erupting volcano, but you do have a chart. And so you're able to kind of shove that into your coat pocket, and the rest of you are all able to get down. And as you get to the bay, you go through the different camps. You're able to pick up the brutes that got left behind through their injuries on the rest of your approach, and you get down to the bottom of the mountain where the boats are ready. Emilio is there, gesturing for you all to get on. And just as you all are in the boat, and Asgeir, you get you immediately. Anchor is pulled, and luckily there's a good wind that fills your sails and starts pushing you out of the water. You all look up and watch as the top of the mountain seems to explode in a massive eruption, and flows of lava coming down the side of the volcano as you look out. But you're out. You saved the children. You saved everyone probably worth saving in this particular endeavor. You're on a ship that does not have a lot of trained crew. I believe Asgeir is still the only one with dots of sailing. Though, no, actually, I'm going to say that Bob knows a thing or two. He has some sailing skill, and so he is of more help than anyone else, and is able at least to intelligently follow Asgeir's orders without having to be shown explicitly what he's supposed to be doing.
We like Bob.
And moves around as he starts getting everything together and moving, and slowly, bit by bit, the ship gets out of the bay, and you watch as the island burns behind you. Demetrius. That was a whole lot. And you're looking around. Actually, I'm going to hold you to last. You all are on the ship, and it's slowly making its way out into the bay. Alastriona, what are you up to? Just on the ship? You just escaped?
On the ship, just escaped. Would have made sure the kids are taken care of, but actually is going to go up to Bob, and you know what? Because fuck you, Asgeir, I'm going to start trying to learn how to sail a ship from Bob.
Bob is actually, he missed being a sailor. He was a sailor for years until he got shipwrecked, got turned into a ganger, didn't like it, and is willing to help you and show you the different ropes, the different knots as he starts helping. Arnau,
having found that chart, is currently sitting in the captain's quarters, which are technically Asgeir's corners. And if Asgeir does show up in the captain's corners and threatens him, he will leave. So he's currently sitting in the captain's corners at the captain's desk, currently like trying to study that chart, seeing what it's got on it, see if he can find any information about the whatever the fuck that thing was that tried to blow us up, and figure out what's going on.
you open the chart, and it's clearly encoded. This isn't particularly strange. A lot of time, particularly pirates, want information on different ports of call. And the code doesn't make immediate sense to you. But as you were looking at it and deciphering it, you realize that almost every major Vendel port is marked on this map. Not just present on the map, specifically marked with code sequences on each of them. You're not sure why, but it seems like someone was tracking Vendel shipping.
Does it seem... So I realize we probably don't have too much time in order for me to ask questions. It may take more analysis. Is it following a specific merchant's ships, or is it just, does it seem
It's
like
hard to tell. This looks like it was this looks like a copy, and so this was not the map that like someone worked something out on. Like someone created the chart and then made copies that were distributed. So it's just the flat information as far as you can tell, and you haven't cracked the code yet. So
somebody needs to die. That's what this sounds like.
Asgeir, you
so
are at
at the helm,
mm-hmm.
And he will get them far away from that island to calm seas before he will do anything else.
The little girl, Newt, that you all are calling her, walks up alongside you and just kind of leans against your leg, leaving you clear, but just has this, you're a big, strong guy, and
Yep,
and you
totally
look,
strong.
and Verity, what are you up to?
She would give the wrapped up black rose to Nikoletta. I got you a sample. It was growing out of the chanter. When I cut
Oh.
it bleed like artery.
Yes, that appears to be another one of the vampiric breed. I shall stick this with the other one.
But after she does that, she'd go check on Demetrius. Considering
that point.
they were both gonna kill that guy in their exchange.
To that point, Demetrius, you got you a hero point. Your mind is on Verity.
The corruption point?
No, he got the corruption point too, but he got a hero point because he fell in love.
I figured enamored was a
No.
Jeez.
The Arcana is the lovers, sir.
This is not. Yes. Hey.
The hubris is star-crossed.
Yes, true. That is true. Literally just killed for her. Literally killed for her.
Violence is a love language.
How are you feeling about that in that moment?
He would have went to his room and thrown his blade at the wall.
Thunk.
Grabbed the pistol that he used to shoot the man with. And slammed it on the ground and slammed it on the desk. And, thinking about Verity, thinking about the guy he killed, kind of flashes to his past. And it's like, how long? And he looks at the mirror. He's like, how long did that fucking take you? Like, you've been here for already. I've killed guys before. I've killed less. Kill for less. And he just smashes the mirror. And angry, he's all the emotions.
And while you were feeling all these emotions and going through, and her face will
So I hear
just
him
not
breaking
leave.
a mirror.
There is a knock at your door, and you go and you open it, and there is Verity.
My apologies. I was in the mood for redecoration.
That is 7 years bad luck.
Stays the same. I'm glad you are safe, though.
Ignoring chat. I would have been fine killing him myself. You did not have to waste a bullet. But you seem very torn up about killing someone. We kill people all the time. They were definitely bad people.
Of course.
But you seem far more disturbed.
Because they were beaten. The fight was over. So, unnecessary violence. But you're right, we kill plenty. I didn't want that on your conscience.
You need not concern yourself with what would bother me. I was ready to take a stain on my morality. They were, God knows what to those children, or what that boat was, or what their intentions for those innocents were. I would have slept fine. But now I am concerned. And she looks at the mirror and the upturned furniture and the torn curtains, that perhaps you will not.
Verity, you've been working very hard on noticing things.
I have been. And I'm also I probably have a broken rib. I'm probably actively bleeding right now. Two.
You were both looking very beat up. Miracle, bad bleeding wounds. You've managed to at least bandage them a little bit, but it's nothing that's going to last forever. You've been focusing so hard on being more attentive to things, attentive to people. And you remember some of the lessons that you were taught at the Ambrosia School. And everything that Veronique and Lady Ambrosia would teach you about how to read the way people look at you and to figure out where you stand in that situation. And Demetrius has been avoiding your eyes. Just reading on the way you've been emoting there, Belle. And he looks up and you both make eye contact. And you see it. You have had your own feelings in the past, but your actions are your own. What does Verity do?
Well, if you do not wish to continue to sleep in this mess, you could take my room, and I could room with Nikoletta. And she is also not meeting his gaze now. And is super aware of the fact she's basically pantsless. She's like tugging up on her socks like it will do any good. Like
That's very kind of you. That's very kind of you. I'm sure tonight can clean up my mess, but you are incredibly wounded.
Look who's talking.
I know it seems like a common occurrence with what we do, but if you will permit me, maybe I could help dress your wounds.
If we can find anything. I mean, you did just tear up that curtain.
You know, it could be a suture. But
We should take the whole curtain to everyone. Asgeir and Nikoletta are probably
they'll be fine. I'm certain they'll be fine. I'm certain they're having their own adventures.
There's a slight scream heard as Nikoletta resets her ankle.
Yeah, she'll be fine. Close the door.
Demetrius, just for clarification, as we know in the campaign, Demetrius ends up in intimate moments, shall we say, with many women.
Yes.
How is this different?
He's genuinely nervous. Genuinely doesn't want to, because Demetrius Penn will just go for it and see how it plays out, but generally wants to kind of, he's concerned for her well-being, concerned for, but also being aware that he's probably not a great guy. So, I was hoping you could help me with something better.
See, the thing is, Verity knows his history as a rake. And even though she saw admiration of some kind in his eyes, the way he's looking at her, despite the crush she has also had this whole time, she's not interested in being another Bianca. So she's going to take a step back from the door when he offers for her to come in and dress her wound, and is using that tone with her. And it kind of sobers her up very quickly that she's heard him use that tone with women before. And so she's going to take a step back, and she's like, no, that's very kind of you. But, I should probably find something appropriate to wear, and I'm sure Nikoletta can help clean up my wounds and probably has something that would stop the bleeding. You should see her too. But yeah, I'm gonna go find perhaps pants or a skirt, and she's gonna look very much like she wants to stay, but she has pride and doesn't wish to just be some girl whose father wants to kill him someday.
So Nikoletta steps away from the door, and it closes between the two of them. And there's a moment as they're both left staring at that door.
Verity.
And with Verity, sorry.
Verity.
Yeah, definitely not Nikoletta. Verity.
Nikoletta would be like, please stop looking at me like that.
Making me very uncomfortable. And with that, we will bring this episode to a close. Thank you very much to Basics of the Game for hosting us. Thank you for Dragon of the Dark Rose and Basics for producing us. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment and join the channel and tell other people about us if you are enjoying us. And until next time, keep playing more games.